Well, hello and welcome to my formal dining room. And you may be asking yourself, I thought we were talking about Bible study tips. Why are we in the dining room? Well, I have a really good answer for you coming up next. Well, hello friends, I'm Mary Beth from the atwhatcostblog.com, where we are learning to apply God's truth to our everyday lives. And if we want to apply it, it's going to be important that we know what it says. So on today's tip, we're going to talk about the way that the Bible is written, the different writing elements, and better understand how we can read God's truth, understand it, and most importantly, be changed by it. Now, there are 66 individual books within the whole book of the Bible that we call the canon. So each of those books has their own individual attributes, but collectively they tell a larger story. We call that story the meta-narrative. It's the overall theme that the Bible has. And the best place that you can find the overall theme of the Bible explained in very few words is through the book series, putting together the pieces of the puzzle of either the Old or the New Testament. There are two versions. I think Bill Jones is the author of those, and I can link those in the description below. Basically, the meta-narrative that we see throughout the Bible is God bringing glory and honor to himself by restoring fellowship with mankind through his son, Jesus Christ. And that's basically the whole theme of the Bible. As we look at the structure, we can see that we have this overarching structure. We've got 66 individual books. Now, they drill down into a few categories of literary writing, so the style that they're written in. And I have this handy dandy little chart for you to be able to see how these things are broken up. So we have the Bible as a whole. We also have two sections. We have the Old Testament. This is the time period before we see Jesus come on the scene. And then we have the New Testament, which chronicles the life of Jesus and all of the events that have followed that through the book of Revelation. Now, within each of those testaments or sections, we have 4 different literary styles or sections that we see. So within the Old Testament, we have what is called the Pentateuch or the Law. This is the first 5 books of the Bible. It chronicles the creation story and the formation of God's chosen people. We then move into the historical books, which show us basically the history of God's chosen people through a period of time. Next up, we have the wisdom books. So this is going to be Job through Esther. I'm sure you're very familiar with these. This is where you're going to find Proverbs and Psalms and Job. These are all books that typically are familiar from the Old Testament. Our next section, which is the prophetical books. Now, that section is broken up into 2 subsections. We have the major prophets and we have the minor prophets. Now, the only difference between those 2 things is that the major prophets are a little bit longer. So they both tell the same stories of prophecy. Now, moving into the New Testament, we also have 4 main structures. The first 4 books of the New Testament are considered the Gospels. Those are the stories that really tell the story of Jesus Christ, his time here, and what he's done to restore that fellowship between God and mankind. After the gospel, we have the book of Acts. This chronicles the acts of the apostles as they begin to spread Christianity throughout the world. Next, we have the epistles or letters. Epistles is just a fancy word for letters. And the last section that we have in the New Testament is the book of Revelation, which is also a book of prophecy, and it has an undercurrent of being written as an epistle throughout the book. But those are really the 8 different sections within the 2 main sections of the Bible. So why is this important? Why is it important to understand the structure of the Bible when we start studying? As I mentioned in the opening of this video, we're in a formal dining room. It dictates how you behave when you're in this room. In this formal dining room, you would expect people to behave in a certain way. You wouldn't necessarily see someone come in their pajamas and eat a bowl of cereal out of the china in this formal dining room. I mean, you might, because like we live a real life here. But overall, the context of the environment dictates our behavior within it, and the same is true for the structures of the Bible. We want to acknowledge that we engage in these texts with a little bit different mindset as we move from section to section. I hope that you have found this study tip to be useful, and if you have not subscribed already, I would encourage you to do so. You can find me here every Friday with a video about family minimalism, which focuses more on how we can apply God's truth to our lives, and every Sunday here with a Bible study tip so that we can learn more about God's truth and really understand it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.